Hey everyone, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today, as you can see, it's going to be Castlevania The Holy Relics. This is a 2017 ROM hack for Castlevania 1. And I gotta say, this is probably the best Castlevania ROM hack I have played to date. I've played quite a few, and this one is just very solid. It's got some solid level design, it's got some great visuals, good music, and the coolest addition to it is the fact that you get these things called Holy Relics. They're actually usable special items that are brand new to the game, and it really gives you a lot of flexibility on how you want to tackle this game. We're going to be tackling this game a very particular way today because one of the items I think is so good it's almost broken, and that's the item that we're going to get, or the Holy Relic we're going to get on the very first level. But yeah, we're going to go through this whole game. As usual, I've beaten this game probably about 4 or 5 times, maybe even 6 times now, and so I've got a good idea on where I'm supposed to go in each level, so I can tell you exactly where to go and how to deal with certain situations and things like that, and how to deal with the bosses with this special Holy Relic I'm going to be using. And yeah, it should be a fun playthrough. So yeah, let's go ahead and hit the start button to get into it. So what's really cool about this too is that you also have a stage select. You've got 5 main stages and then a 6th final level, Vrad's Manor. And yeah, you can play each of these levels in any order you want. The relics are given to you, specific relics are given to you on specific levels. So after we beat Dennis Woods, we get the crown, which is going to be the relic we're going to be using for the rest of the playthrough. What's so special about the crown is that it actually upgrades your whip or makes it stronger, and so you can kill bosses in 3 or 4 hits with it. And so that's what we're going to be doing to get quick kills on bosses. But you've also got the cross, which you start with, which is basically a screen clearing bomb, just like the cross is in the first Castlevania when you pick it up. You also get the bag, which is more points. So when you attack enemies, they'll give you a whole lot of points. I don't know if it's a glitch, but sometimes I think with the bag, when you hit enemies, it'll give you extra lives too. I've had that happen a couple times where every enemy just gives me extra lives. It's really, really weird, but yeah, something that I probably want to experiment with more. The basket gives you invincibility, and it also slows down enemies. Kind of an interesting one. The mug, which is actually really good for first-time players, which is what we're gonna get on either Deborah Cliff or Tamita Tower, I don't remember which, but that refills your health, so you can, it's kind of like the herb in Castlevania X68000, or Akuma Joe Dracula X68000, or Castlevania Chronicles as we know it on PlayStation North America. There was an item there where you could refill your health. And then lastly, you get the shoes, which actually drops you from the top of the screen. It's kind of interesting. It can get you to special areas that are difficult to reach, or, you know, it can get you out of harm's way. So yeah, but we're going to be sticking with the crown for this playthrough. And so yeah, I'll show you quick kills on bosses. So let's go ahead and just start off on Dennis Woods, and I can't actually select any other relics other than the cross, so we're pretty much stuck with this on stage 1. Now, something I wanted to note about this playthrough is that I am actually recording this from a Mr. FPGA piece of hardware. So normally I use my retro USB AVS console for this stuff, but in this particular case, I had this ROM on my Mister and not my AVS, and I didn't really feel like transferring it. So we're actually doing it from the Mister today. I've had the Mister for a little while now, but this is my first actual recording straight from it. I still plan on using the AVS on future NES videos, but again, it was more convenient to just use the Mister in this case. Now, let's go ahead and pick up that holy water. One other disclaimer is that this ROM I have actually has the improved control hack or modification applied on top of it as well. So you're going to notice that I can do mid-air jumps, and I can also do variable jump height by letting go of the button earlier, kind of like a you know, a Mega Man game or something like that. Makes the game take a little while to get used to, but it does actually make the game easier because I now have mid-air control, and I don't have to you know, commit to my jumps like I would in a normal Castlevania game. So I do want to revisit this ROM hack eventually in the future. Probably not on my channel, but just revisit it personally without the improved controls mod. Just to see how much more difficult it is. I don't predict it being a lot more difficult, especially if I'm using the crown to get quick kills on bosses. But it is still neat. I like having this mid-air control. It makes it feel a little more like Super Castlevania 4. What I don't like as much is the little variable jump height. I prefer to just have a full jump. It's just how it's how I'm used to Castlevania. Pretty much every other Castlevania game will make you do a full jump when you press the jump button, and so that took me a little bit of time to get used to. So we've got ourselves the stopwatch here, and a lot of these weapons operate the same way they do in classic Castlevania Part 1. But the axe actually has more of a long-range throw, so it's got a wider arc, which is kind of interesting. The boomerang or the cross is pretty much identical to what it was in Castlevania 1. The holy water, pretty much the same as well. It'll stun enemies in place. The dagger has been changed, however. The dagger is actually a little bit bigger, and it goes across the screen slower, but it's a lot more powerful. You do have a lot of hidden treasures and items that you can get in this game as well. One neat feature about this hack is that at the end of the game, it actually tallies up how many of those hidden treasures you found. I don't think you get anything special for finding them all. At least nothing in the README says so. But I will show you some of the ones that I found. So this boss is kind of like a reskin of the bat from the first Castlevania. However, his pattern is very different. He always just goes up or down the screen, and then he'll traverse across the screen, or partway across the screen. Now, I prefer having the axe in this guy, but I think the stopwatch might also freeze him in place, just like the bat, the first bat boss in Castlevania. But here we go. We got our second Holy Relic. We got our second Holy Relic, which is the crown, and again, we're going to be using that for pretty much the rest of the playthrough. Now, some relics are a lot more useful than others in the levels themselves, but for getting quick kills on bosses and things like that, the crown is the best. Now, here's a mechanic I haven't mentioned yet. You do have to get keys in this, and the keys are mandatory in order to progress. Some keys are just given to you in those blue candles. Other times, they're actually dropped randomly in the orange candles. And that big blue heart I picked up gives me the ability to use my Holy Relic. So you start each stage with one use, and those uses actually reset. So it's actually good to use them before the stage finishes, and which I did not actually use my cross in the previous level, mainly because I had no need to use it. The level's not that difficult, it's just the first stage. We're gonna go ahead and fall down here. Those guys are basically reskins of the bone pillars from, the first Castlevania. So, a lot of the same Castlevania strategies apply here. So, the bone pillars, you just want to wait for them to shoot, and then they'll usually shoot twice. And so you want to attack as they're shooting, so you destroy their projectiles while also doing damage to them. You've got these mummies that act a lot like they do in, say, Castlevania 3. And with this improved controls mod, it's actually a lot easier to dodge some of these projectiles, since I have mid-air control now. So I have a lot of flexibility. And here is another blue heart. And so on this section right here, what I'm going to do is actually take this middle path. I technically could take the bottom path because I have the axe and I can just throw it up. But we want to hit this blue candle. Your first blue candle is typically a key. And so, you definitely want to go for those blue candles if you see them. We did just get ourselves an extra life. You do get extra lives, I think, on the same point scale as you do in the first Castlevania. So 30,000 or so is our first one up. And now, something to note in this game is I found that there are no continues, or at least if there is a way to continue, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a code or something like that. But there is no continue screen like you get in the first Castlevania. So you do have to be kind of careful in this game. Otherwise, you'll get a game over and you'll have to do the whole thing over again. Now, here's another hidden item up here, and we're going to go ahead and just take some damage. Not a big deal. But I want to keep walking over so I can outrun these guys. So a little bit of a secret right here. We can hit this tombstone, and then we can go ahead and... I don't know if we can stand here. Yeah, it looks like we have to duck. So let's go ahead and duck. And there we go. Another hidden treasure. And I believe that should be one of the ones that gets tallied up at the end of the game. Now, these floating heads, it can be a little tedious in this game because, in the first Castlevania, the ghosts will appear, and these floating heads are basically reskins of the ghosts from the first Castlevania. Now, they only appear when you cross a specific line, and they'll just appear once. However, in this game, they just keep spawning at certain points, so you do have to keep watching your back as you're making progress. And let's go ahead and come on down here and whack open this wall, and to reveal another hidden chest. And there's another use for our Holy Relic. Now, there is no key here as far as I'm aware. This is basically the lead up to the boss fight. And now this boss fight is probably one of the more difficult ones in the game because of how it just bounces around the screen. So what I'm going to do is use my Holy Relic and then give it a few whacks with the whip, and boom, just like that. Quick kill. Now, its pattern seems to be completely random. Sometimes it'll just, you know, dive down and go all the way across the screen like that. Other times it'll go a different direction, and so it's a little difficult to do it without taking damage. You know, if you don't use the crown, it's good to, say, be on the bottom left with the axe, and then just, you know, damage the boss with the axe. That's probably the best way to handle it. Actually, one of the first times I got to this boss, actually, no, it was probably like the second or third time I got to the boss. I got to it with 1 block of health left, and I managed to actually beat the boss without taking a single hit. I think I basically just sat in the bottom left corner using the axe. Which was very helpful. So we are going to switch over to the stopwatch here, which is why I went over to the holy water. It wasn't really a big deal because I knew I was going to switch my weapon anyway. So we're going to go ahead and just use it here because these fish like to shoot these bubbles up, and they can be a little difficult to avoid. They might just, you know, bump right into you. And even with this improved controls hack, where when I take a hit, I still have mid-air control, you know, there's a good chance I might still get knocked into the water. So what I'm going to do here is actually grab that key, that was actually a random drop. The key is actually supposed to appear in that blue candle, but again, sometimes it'll appear in the orange candles as well. Let's go ahead and use our stopwatch. And now we actually ended up getting a dagger. I did not want to do that, but sometimes blue candles will drop weapons. And so it ended up dropping a dagger, which means coming back over here is going to be a little more tricky. But there's a secret treasure right here. We open up this area, and then we duck, and then we reveal it right here. And so let's hope that we don't really take a hit here, otherwise I might end up falling into this water, and I don't want that to happen, because if it does, I end up having to do this whole section over again. And there we go. Try to take advantage of the mid-air controls here. Alright, let's see what we've got here. Maybe there's another weapon I can pick up. Nope. But the blue heart was actually worth it, because I like having as many blue hearts as I can when I get to the boss, just in case, you know, I don't get the quick kill. I mean, I pretty much typically get the quick kills, because the bosses appear in really basic positions. Like, there's, we're gonna have to fight the Grim Reaper, and the Grim Reaper appears pretty much in the middle of the screen when the fight starts, and so you get a bunch of free hits on him, right as he appears. And same with the boss of this level, which is a Hydra, similar to the one in Castlevania 3, but a little bit easier. And, but, you know, you can kill the Hydra pretty much right as it pops up. So, this is another good opportunity to use our Holy Relic, because, you know, I have a couple I can burn, and then I can quick kill these enemies too, which is quite nice, actually. So, see what's in this candle. Oh. Let's go ahead and pick up the boomerang right there. Technically, in later Castlevania games, it was called the cross, but in the first Castlevania, I think they actually called it the boomerang. But later on in the series, they would just call it the cross. Alright, so there's our key. And lots of health opportunities in this game, too. Not just because you get a Holy Relic that can refill your health, but because there's just a lot of hidden health power-ups. Pot roasts and wall chicken and whatever. Alright, I'm gonna actually try to just snipe this guy from a distance, because even with my mid-air control, one hit might knock me into the water, which can be a little troublesome to deal with. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting in this game I found out recently is that if you smack the doors with your whip, it actually makes a sound and gives you a visual cue like you're actually doing damage to it. Now, you're not actually doing damage to it. I've sat there and I've tried whacking the door with my whip endlessly, and nothing happens, but it's just kind of interesting that it does do that. So we just want to take that top route right there, and just like the bone pillars in the first Castlevania, we kind of want to wait until they shoot. That way we can override their projectiles. It's just a quick 1-2 attack. Now, this is actually, I think, our last stretch on this level. Some of these levels actually aren't that long at all. We're going to go ahead and use our Holy Relic, and go ahead and kill this guy in 3 hits. Now, most of the times I've played this game, I've seen that boss spawn on the far left, and then he goes to the middle, and then he goes to the right, so it's pretty basic stuff. However, the game can loop. If you press start at the end credits, and it goes back to the title screen, and you start a new game, it technically takes you into a loop too. You keep your score, you keep your whip upgrade, and you keep your multiplier as well. Now you lose your relics, but it does allow you to continue with the same score and the same, you know, upgraded Morning Star whip. I haven't really noticed anything different difficulty-wise in the second loop. But what I wanted to make note of is on the second loop, I experienced the boss spawning in the middle, which is very different from loop 1. Now, I don't know if that's a loop 2 thing, or if the boss is normally random like that, and I've just coincidentally gotten him to spawn in the same spot, you know, 5 or 6 times or so. So, I don't know. If anyone else out there plays this game and you know how, you know, the randomness on that boss works, definitely let me know. So... the key hasn't spawned yet, so we're probably going to end up having to fall down here to get it, unfortunately, which means we're going to have to backtrack a little bit. Just duck and try to hit this bird. Unfortunately, his hitbox is below his wings. So let's see if I can just snipe him with the axe. There we go. There we go. Okay, great. I grabbed it on the way over, so I didn't have to backtrack, which is nice. So there's no secret here as far as I'm aware, or at least I haven't been able to find it because these enemies just keep spawning on the right-hand side. These guys, much like, say, the bats, will spawn in the direction that you're facing as far as I'm aware. So we're facing right, and now they're spawning right. Facing left, now they're spawning left. So it's kind of how those guys work, just like the bats. And Medusa heads, actually. These guys pretty much replace the Medusa heads, but these are a little bit easier to deal with. Well, I don't know. Medusa heads, I think, are kind of overrated in the difficulty department. No, the difficulty department. I've always felt like the Medusa heads are, you know, they're very tricky at first, but they bob and weave in the exact same pattern every time, and so I don't think they're as difficult to get the hang of as a lot of people make them out to be. You either go over them, or you go under them, or you wait until they're about in the middle of the screen, or in the middle... you know, in relation to you, and you can just whip them just straight up. So and in a way, these new Medusa replacements might actually be a little more challenging for some people because they're not 100% predictable. You know, they do come out in different arcs, but they are a lot slower. They don't usually dive bomb you like, you know, Medusa heads do. And we've got these birds, so, you know, you can just turn around and whack them if they come from behind. Just pay attention. In that area, as they do constantly spawn. And so here we go. And we're actually nearing the end of this level. That candle down there on that platform, it is just it's just a money bag, so nothing special there. And there's holy water, don't really want it. I actually prefer the axe for this game. I find that a lot of the level design feels like it was designed with the axe in mind. It's just so useful. It goes pretty much all the way across the screen, and yeah, it's just an excellent weapon in this game. I mean, the axe has always been good in pretty much all the Castlevania games. Not always the best, but definitely a higher tier weapon in the grand scheme of things. And one I definitely recommend getting used to in pretty much any Castlevania game. It's very good to be good with. So, but it's especially good in this game. It's got a nice arc to it. Unfortunately, it doesn't go as high as it does in other Castlevanias, but... you know, I think the distance more than makes up for it. And here's the Grim Reaper, so we're going to go ahead and just attack him a handful of times, and boom, he's dead. So he operates a lot like he does in the first Castlevania, although I think he moves a little bit slower in this one, and it doesn't go as haywire as he does in the first Castlevania. But yeah, I mean, you use your crown as your Holy Relic, and to use your Holy Relics, I haven't explained it yet, you press select to do so. But yeah, you press select right when the fight starts, you activate your crown, and then you can just kill him in 3 hits or so, which is... very nice. So, Temnita Tower, this is our last level. And if I wanted to, I could switch to different relics, but I'm not going to, because I'm all about those quick kills on these bosses. Now, I do recommend playing this ROM hack. If you're a fan of Castlevania ROM hacks and you haven't played this one yet, definitely grab it, definitely play it. It's a lot of fun. It's a very well-made hack. And so, you know, I'd recommend experimenting with different strategies on your own and whatnot. Whereas I'm going the quick kill route. You know, if you decide to play this ROM hack, like I said at the beginning of the video, there's a ton of flexibility in how you approach this game. And while the level design itself isn't the most complex stuff out there, it's honestly pretty basic. Lots of moving left, go upstairs, move right, go upstairs, you know. Not particularly challenging situations to be in, although again, I'm using the improved controls hack, or mod, which makes the game a little bit easier, no doubt. But even with that, I think the game would still be pretty easy in the grand scheme of things, because there aren't a whole lot of devious situations that you'll find yourself in. Now, I had gone to the right there, I didn't need to, but I knew there was a blue candle there, and there was a potential for it to drop a blue heart. So I can give myself an extra use with my relic, my holy relic, my crown. Now, with the improved controls hack, interestingly, you can actually make some shortcuts, or take some shortcuts that you can't really do without it. So one of the improvements is that you can jump from stairs in this. And so it's like Dracula X on PC Engine and Super Nintendo. So same sort of deal there. Oh, no, I did not want to get that, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. Holy water is actually really good. It's still very good. But I prefer having the axe, especially when the axe was already upgraded. Let's go ahead and drop the holy water on him, and there we go. And we've already got our key, so we can go ahead and just take this left-hand route, which will take us to this platform. Go ahead and drop holy water on that guy. Now, there's going to be another hidden treasure up here as well. Oh, let's go ahead and grab that, so we can use our holy water twice. Kind of like that, and we can just tap down like that. Another nice thing is, you know, when you fall with the improved controls hack, you can actually still control yourself mid-air even when you just fall off a platform. And so you won't just drop completely, completely straight down like you do in the first Castlevania. Or the third Castlevania. So, let's go ahead and try to use our holy water up there, run into it. He doesn't want to run into it, but not a big deal. Those guys take 2 hits. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the stopwatch just to make some of these parts a little bit easier. So I have to actually take the bottom route here. And there's an extra life. And I'm just going to go ahead and whack all these things. Yeah, see, the stopwatch just makes this part a lot easier. So we're going to go ahead and use it again. That way that bone pillar replacement doesn't shoot at us. Whack this head from behind. And we're going to go ahead and use it again, just like so. And we're going to go ahead and just walk down the stairs. I'm not even going to bother attacking that guy. So this is actually the lead up to the boss. I'm going to wait for him to throw an axe, and then what I'm going to do is come on over this way. There's actually a meat right here, but it doesn't really matter, because I'm going to be using... wow, this actually freezes him. This is brand new to me. That's very cool. So I actually just learned something. So the stopwatch actually freezes that boss. So, stopwatch is actually kind of overpowered here. That's really good. I am not complaining. I like that. So I haven't experimented with every single boss, with every single different weapon, and things like that. So I don't know what weapons are the best against specific bosses. All I know is that I can use the crown and just do some major, major damage. So knowing now that I can freeze that guy with the stopwatch makes him a hell of a lot easier. And what I'm probably going to do is actually take the stopwatch through the rest of this level, actually. And there's our key right there. Sometimes, again, the key will actually drop, you know, actually end up dropping from the orange candles. But in this case, you can get it there from that, that secret block. And you kind of want to take this part a little slow, or use the stopwatch like I just did. Because these guys, again, they come at different arcs. And so they can be a little tricky to deal with. And when I first played this part actually gave me a lot of trouble, because with the improved controls, I was actually not holding my jump button down long enough. And that was proving to be problematic. But using the stopwatch here makes it a whole lot easier, and I can just make sure I hold down the button all the way, and do full jumps, and not have any issues. So it is actually probably good for me to have a projectile for the final boss coming up here shortly. But I'm going to go ahead and just stick it out with the stopwatch, just because it just makes life a lot easier. We'll just blaze right through this level, probably without dying. And come to think of it, I don't think we've actually died yet, which is, I think, actually a first for me with this game. I always have a tendency of dying on the water level, on the automatic platform sections. I always make some stupid little flub, and make some stupid little mistake and end up dying. And I'm not going to go ahead and grab that. Again, I prefer the axe, but I don't think I really need it. I think I'm going to be good here with the stopwatch. We're just going to take our time. And that's actually our, that's going to be our key most likely, so we're going to have to redo this section. But it gives me a chance to get some hearts, because I'm going to be using... Okay, never mind. I was, So much for the stopwatch. We got the dagger. I did not mean to grab that, but that's okay. The dagger is kind of neat because it is arguably more useful in this than it is in the first Castlevania. I've never thought that the dagger was as useless as people make it out to be typically. You know, it is a good long-range weapon. It's good for that purpose. And let's go ahead and grab that heart. That way I have some extra flexibility in the final boss with my crown. But it's definitely been improved here. Yeah, it's definitely slower going across the stream, but it also does a lot more damage, and so, you know, it kind of makes up for it. And I can shoot it multiple times, so we'll go ahead and just stick with the dagger for the rest of the playthrough. This is going to take us, I believe, to our final section. This game is actually really short, come to think of it. We're 25 minutes in, and we're almost done already. And that's not even 25 minutes of actual gameplay. Granted, the first Castlevania can be like that too. Castlevania 1 can be really short if you know exactly how to, you know, exploit every, you know, specific section of the game. I'm not talking like speedrunning it, but just, you know, using holy water immediately on death, using the stopwatch on, you know, the bat or something like that, or getting a good holy water kill on the bat. So ducking right there will give us another secret treasure. Now, I think there were a couple of secret treasures that I know about that I've actually missed, but it's not a big deal. If you play this game for yourself, you can experiment with them. But since we have multiple Holy Relic uses, we're going to go ahead and use it and just whack this guy in the head a bunch of times. And he's a warlock, and he makes this other beast appear. And so we're going to go ahead and use it again. Now, for this guy, if you're just learning him, you want to get to the far left-hand side of the screen. You notice that he'll try to jump over you, but he'll bounce backwards. And so you just want to get him into like a jumping and bouncing backwards loop. Now, you might have to tank. He might just walk straight into you, but it happens occasionally, but it's not going to happen every time. He is going to jump. He likes to jump more often than not. So if you get to that boss, and you don't know what to do, stay on the far left or far right hand side of the screen. I prefer far left because I start on the left and I'm attacking the warlock on the left, and then the second boss appears kind of where the warlock gets destroyed. So I like to just stay on the left hand side of the screen, just let him walk over and then try to jump and then bounce backwards and just get him into a jump, you know, a jump loop. So, but yeah, guys, that is Castlevania: The Holy Relics. For the Nintendo Entertainment System. A very, very solid Castlevania ROM hack. This was actually recommended to me by a bunch of people over the years, the last few years. And in particular, just a few weeks ago, one of my regular viewers recommended it. And, you know, I was sitting on my couch a couple weeks ago, you know, trying to practice for Monster Party via the Mister. And I was like, you know what, let me try out this Holy Relics ROM hack. And, you know, I ended up beating it on my first try. You know, I had to... You know, I did die quite a few times in the first playthrough, but I got so many extra lives that, you know, I was still able to complete it on my first go. And then, yeah, I just went back and I practiced it again, and I just kept going, and I think this is actually my first one life clear after all those practice runs. But, yeah, I mean, this was recommended by quite a few people over the years, and I'm glad I tried it out. You know, it impressed me right away, and, you know, it's a good, smooth, fun playthrough, and, yeah, it's worth it. Definitely check it out if you're a fan of Castlevania ROM hacks, and let me know what you think of it if you do. If you have any other Castlevania ROM hacks you want to see me play through, like particularly good ones like this, definitely post a comment down below and let me know. And, but yeah, before we actually jump out of here, let's go ahead and demonstrate the fact that you can actually start again, and you'll notice that my score is still up there, and I still have, you know, my multiplier, my shot multiplier from earlier, which is actually kind of interesting because I don't have a sub-weapon anymore. I have the shot multiplier, but I don't have a sub-weapon, which is actually very interesting. And also, when you start the playthrough, these bats in the beginning have a tendency of giving you extra lives, which is interesting. I don't know if that's because the bats give you extra lives right away, or if it's because the final boss gives you so many points and that the game doesn't actually register the extra lives, and so when you come back on your second loop, the game remembers that, oh, we haven't credited you the extra lives, so you know, every kill will give you an extra life. Maybe that's what's happening. I've gotten to the third loop, and I think I got like 3 or 4 extra lives from bats in the very beginning, so, but yeah. But yeah, that's Castlevania, the Holy Relics, guys. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this playthrough. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I've got a lot of Let's Plays here, and many, many more to come. Or at least subscribe if you like Let's Plays like this. If you don't, and you're just stumbling on here, and this is like the first kind of playthrough you've seen like this, and you're like, I don't know if I really like it, then don't subscribe. But if you do like Let's Plays like this, please subscribe. I've got about 400 Let's Plays on here, and many, many more to come. For already, oh, jeez, I'm at the point where I can't even talk anymore. For all you guys already subbed, thank you for your continued support, and until the next one, take it easy.